What's up, everyone? How are we doing today? Welcome to another episode, Together Achieving Greatness. Before we jump in, again, like and subscribe. Helps me out. Share it with anyone who might be interested or might gain knowledge or useful information from this info. And today, those people are probably going to be parents of youth athletes and youth athletes, because that's what we are going to be talking about today. I want to jump in and talk about if the question is, are your athletes prepared for their sport or their sports that they're playing? And with a lot of youth athletes today, I don't think they really are. A lot of them are, now it's the whole debate is one sport or early specialization versus multi-sport. And of course, I think multi-sport is the best way to go. Don't specialize until you absolutely have to. When kids are young, I think they should get involved in everything they can. Basketball, football, baseball, gymnastics, wrestling, track, sprinting, tumbling, anything, jiu-jitsu or any of these martial arts, swimming. Get them involved in every different thing. Get them doing as many different sports as possible, because with these different sports, they're going to get different skills. Where baseball, you think of baseball, it's not a lot of action. It's a lot of rotation, a lot of overhead throwing. Whereas a different sport like basketball, there's a lot more jumping and sprinting and those types of things. So there's gymnastics, tumbling and rolling and flipping and all these bending and stuff like that. You're not getting in these other sports. So getting your kids into these different stimuluses, these different ways to adapt and learn and move, I think it's critical to building the best athletes. And yeah, there's no guarantee that being a multiple sport athlete is going to guarantee your kid is a pro athlete, or specializing at age 5 is going to get them to a pro athlete. That takes a lot of hard work, a lot of luck, a lot of good genetics. So if you are blessed with crappy genetics, I mean, you're going to have to overcome a lot. And it happens. Kids that work hard, they get put in a good program, they just grow and learn and build off that as they get through middle school, through high school, into college. You see the late bloomers, those types of people. If there's so many different factors, there's no guarantee anything. The pro athletes are the top 1% of the 1%. It's hard to be a pro athlete, especially if you're looking in the big sports, NFL, MLB, NBA, NHL. It's super tough to get there. You got to have, like I said, everything's got to fall into place. And there's examples of people who have done it by early specialization, like Tiger Woods or Serena Williams or those types of people. And then but there's also bad examples of that too, like Marinovich? Is it Marinovich who was dad just forced him to do all this stuff, early specialization. You see this all too common, especially nowadays. And then these kids, they're 5-star recruits going into college, but they don't get drafted. They don't even make it through college. They just bomb out because they're so burnt out. They just end up stopping, quitting altogether because they're burnt out. And that's another thing I think why multiple sports is good, is that burnout. Especially with baseball. I'm surrounded by baseball and stuff. And it's just dumb, all the club teams and showcases and all this other junk that's out there, these camps and stuff. Just coaches telling you, you got to play baseball year-round. No, you do not need to play baseball year-round, and you probably shouldn't play baseball year-round. Take some time off. Let the body recover. Give the mind some recovery. The burnout seasons get so long and things like that. You don't see pro baseball players, pro NFL players playing all year round. That would just destroy. I mean, baseball season is too long as it is. Football season is getting too long as it is. They're wanting to add more and more games. So these players take a beating, physically, mentally, emotionally, psychologically. All these factors that you don't think. You just think, you get up and go play. But I don't think kids these days are prepared for the most part. Yeah, there's some kids that have parents that have maybe gone through it or they have someone like me in their life, a coach who knows the wear and tear and stuff like that kids need to do. But a lot of times kids these days are just not active either. And I'm not going to blame video games or anything like that or computers and stuff like that. I'm a big fan of technology. The phone gets to be a pain in the ass all the time because you think about it, you don't realize how addicted you are to it. But video games are great. TV's great. Watching sports is great. That's how I learn. Sometimes I learn from reading, but I'm more of a visual learner. I like to see. I watch sports. I learn from that. I watch movies. I get stuff from that. Ideas and content for that. I watch professional wrestling. I get ideas and content from that. So video games, I get ideas and content and learn how to tell stories and stuff from that. So those things are good, but most of the time, the kids these days, it's the parents' fault. They aren't promoting activity. They're just letting the kids do all this stuff. And then in school, they're not active. They get gym maybe once or twice a week, and it's not really gym. They're not taught physical education anymore. And they don't get recess. They don't get to get outside as much anymore. They're stuck sitting in desks and being behind computers all day, crunched over like that. And their body gets used to that. They aren't able to move like human beings should or kids should. Then you see these other kids that are more active. They're in gymnastics. They're in different sports, and they're active, and they enjoy going out and playing on the playground with their kids or with other kids. And just being a kid and playing. That's a huge thing, is playing. And you see the development, the change in how much better and more developed, ready these kids are. But I think the majority of the kids these days are not prepared for their sport. Let's say since now it's winter, it's coming up, so we got basketball, we got wrestling. What other sports? I think swimming is a winter sport. I don't even know. I guess it's different wherever you're at. But you got kids that maybe they finished up a football season and they got 3-4 weeks before basketball, so they don't do a damn thing. So, they need to recover, but they also need to prepare. So they go into a basketball season out of shape, injured, banged up, haven't moved in a while, and that's not right. They should be training, and I think the training is a year-round process. No matter if you're 1 sport, 2 sport, 3 sport, 4 sport, whatever, kids need to train year-round. And again, it needs to be good training. You need to do different things, because most of these kids today are weak, slow, unathletic, uncoordinated, have no balance, can't do a push-up, can't do a pull-up, can't stand on one leg for 30 seconds, can't jump or sprint or anything like that. It's because they don't do any of this stuff. They just expect to play a sport, whether it's baseball or basketball or whatever, and they think that's enough. And don't get me wrong, playing this sport is the best way to get better at your sport. But a lot of times today, it's overly structured that they're playing. They're getting coached by these abusive coaches or just dumb coaches who have no idea how to structure a practice, or they have them practicing for 3-4 hours a day. And most of that practice is just wasted time doing stupid busy work. And it's too overly structured. They're not letting the kids learn and grow and figure out how to move, how their body works, and letting them solve problems. They're just telling. Tell. Oh, do this, do that, do this. Oh, that's the right way to do this. This is the right way to do that. Squat this way, bend this way, throw this way. Stop that. That doesn't help kids. It's not how they grow. Kids learn, for the most part, I've learned this from coaching them, from teaching them, that they learn by making mistakes, by screwing up, by falling and getting back up. That's how they learn. It's not just telling. There's no perfect way to do anything. There's no perfect way to throw a baseball or shoot a basketball. Yes, if your form is super sloppy and crappy, that's not good either. You want to help. You can guide them, give them guidelines, give them constraints, but let them learn how their body moves, how their body works, how their mind works. That is what's truly going to help them, because we all move different. We all think different. Even our movements, one pitch is not going to be the same as the next motion of a pitch. There is no one way to do it. Look at major league pitchers. There's sidearmers, there's submariners, there's overhand 3/4 slot. You got everything. All these athletes are so different. And then you get the guys who are you see all the guys who are perfect mechanics and stuff like that. Those are usually the guys who are injured. Think of like Mark Pryor. Back if you're my age, he was like the superstar going in. Like early 2000s, mid 2000s. But he had the perfect mechanics. He got hurt all the time and didn't have a career he wanted probably. Or even later, Strasburg. Was known as great mechanics, but yeah, he had some great years. I think he had one good playoff run, and then got hurt. So, I mean, I'm not saying that leads to injury, but it's just forcing these overly structured mechanics and things like that, these perfect form. A lot of time it backfires because there is no perfect form. It's perfect for each person. We're all different. Like I said, we all move different. We all move different every movement we do, even if it's technically the same movement, the same pitch, the same squat. Every movement is going to be a little bit different. And it's not fitting that square peg into a round hole. Because it's about building them and letting them learn and grow. And yes, you want to have structure, but it's kind of you got to have some unorganized structure as well. That's where going out the sandlot games, just playing with their friends in the backyard or at the local field or just going to a park or at recess, they're playing touch football or tag football, whatever it is. It's not having a teacher, a coach there to supervise and put their nose in their business all the time. A lot of times with my training, I'll just have kids come and their warm up, I'll just say, go crawl or go roll or do this, balloons, keep the balloons up, and just let them, watch them move, watch them think, watch them solve problems, solve movement problems. And that's a big thing I think that is lost today in the coaching world. It's everyone wants to treat them like robots, have them all moving exactly the same. You got all these stupid drills, treating them like they're in the military or whatever, where everyone's marching or moving the exact same time, the same rep scheme, that type of thing. And I don't think that works very well for sports anymore, because these kids more nowadays have changed. They're more thinking, and it's good to think for themselves. Yes, they want to be coached. They want to be coached hard. I think that is a good thing to do. Holding them accountable, teaching them how to lead, showing them how to lead. But it's not just making them all move the exact same way like a lot of these. I know a lot of even the local training centers and stuff like that around here and the ones I got in the high school and stuff. Everyone moves. They try to make everyone move the same, doing the A skips and the B skips and these dumb drills that don't translate to getting better athletically and moving better. Yeah, it's just it keeps them busy and it can make them tired, but that's not the point. We want them to move better, to be better athletes. And again, a lot of these kids today are sitting around doing nothing in school, at home. They don't train in the off season. They don't even have an off season, which is fine. If you're playing 3-4 sports a year, that's great. But you should still be training in season. Or if you're playing one sport and you have no off season, like these kids that do all this stupid club crap in baseball and AAU and basketball and stuff, with all these coaches who are just trying to take advantage of them for the most part, you still need to train. You need to, and when it comes to in season, think of the things you're not doing in your sport. If you're playing baseball, you're probably not jumping a lot. You're not getting a ton of sprinting. Baseball's a lot of standing around, unless you're a pitcher or catcher. If you're in the outfield, sometimes you might never see a ball. If you're so it's and then there's a few times if you are 0 for 3 at the plate with 3 strikeouts, you're not sprinting very much. There's a lot of rotation, so things like that you probably don't need to do, but then do the stuff you're not doing. So lifting, jumping, sprinting, that type of stuff. Different sports, different things in season. And then off season, again, if you have an off season, you can hit that stuff more. But again, the physical education has gone downhill. Again, the training, But then like the parents think, oh, I'll put them in this showcase that they're not ready for, they haven't trained for, or they go to this camp and they haven't prepared their body to be ready to throw or jump or sprint or shoot or whatever, or play their sport. They haven't done anything leading up to that. They just jump in cold off the couch. Oh, I'm gonna go. It's like someone who's my age, 35. You haven't played basketball in a while, and your buddy tells you to come play pickup, and you get up off the couch, go right to the game, and then blow out your hamstring because you haven't done anything in forever. Then you wonder why you get hurt. Or these kids and their parents think, oh, I can just buy them that $500 baseball bat. That's gonna help my kid hit farther. Gonna drop bombs that way. Your kid can't even lift the damn bat because he's so weak and can't do a push-up or can't do a pull-up or can't do bench press or anything like that. They're so weak they can't swing the bat. So yeah, if they're lucky enough to make contact, maybe it will go, but they have no hand-eye coordination. They can't. Their swing is slow. That $500 bat ain't gonna help them at all. Or you spend thousands of dollars on like a new club team or an AAU team that's overly structured, and it gets them specializing early. When again they can't do the natural movements. They don't move like a human. They move like a robot. They don't look like they know how to throw. They go up the pitch and they look like they're gonna fall over. They can't stand on one leg. No push-ups, pull-ups. They can't squat or anything like that. And crawl or climb. These basic things that kids should be able to do, youth athletes should be able to do. It's crazy. I'll get high school athletes in who can't crawl or they can't do a somersault. And honestly, I'm glad they come in and they're willing to work on doing this stuff, but it's embarrassing that they can't do this stuff because they don't learn this stuff in gym. They aren't learning this stuff from their sport coaches or their quote unquote these trainers that have them just doing all this lifting and stuff. And yes, lifting is great. I have kids lift all the time, but they need to move as well. They need to get these other things down. And again, there's not any progressive. Every kid comes in a different spot, and it's about moving them to where they're meeting them where they're at, getting them where they want to be, getting them to move better and be better athletes overall. Because I think if you're a much better general athlete overall, you can sprint, you can jump, you can roll, you can crawl, you can hop, skip, throw, lift, squat, hinge, push up, pull up. Those are things that are going to make good athletes, cut, juke, all that stuff. That's going to make it becoming an even better athlete at your specific sport once you start specializing, whether it's you become a pitcher or a catcher or specialized basketball, football, whatever, quarterback, whatever it is. Being a good athlete is going to help you be better at that. Then you work on training the mind. You train all those other aspects, the psychological aspect, because that stuff is overlooked too, the mental demands. Whereas if these kids are just getting off the couch and going to a practice or a sport for the first time and expecting to be great, then they're not. They realize how far behind they are from these other kids who are, a lot of them are more naturally gifted, but then you got the kids who are training smart. They're learning to move. They've been in gymnastics, or they've been in martial arts, or they've been playing different sports throughout their life, and they just see them, or they actually are allowed to go out and play with their buddies. You just see how much better these kids are than the majority of the kids who aren't strong. They are weak. They can't move fast. They aren't exposed to these stimulus or stimuli to get them, challenge them, push them. They don't play enough. That's the main thing. And play is huge. It is. Think back, and I'm not that old. I mean, the 90s, 2000s, going out to recess was the best time of the day. Now half the kids when I'm teaching, they don't even want to go out for recess. I think it's because, I don't know, they're not allowed to do things that are fun. Like, they're told to not be inventive and creative. They can't climb up a slide or jump off the playground and stuff like that. The kids should be able to do. The teachers and stuff are just so overly structured on what they have to do. Give them that freedom. Give them a ball and say, go play. That's a lot of times what we'll do with our training and our warm-ups and stuff is some random game and maybe give them a few rules and let them learn to solve problems, learn to solve their movement problems and things like that, or even give them a ball or whatever and have them make up their own game. That's what kids really need: creativity, exploration, and just learning that way, growing that way, whether they're a elementary school athlete, a middle school, or a high school. Even college kids can benefit from this. More play. They don't have a foundation. They aren't strong. They aren't fast. They're weak. They have no strength training or movement. They can't move like human beings. They're taught to be robotic and all that stuff. And more unorganized sports, I think, is huge, as I've mentioned, that play aspect. But then you combine that with the physical aspect of the training, of the sports, playing, but they also need that nutritional side, the habits that off the field, off the court, that are going to help them be. And it's not forcing them on some diet or anything like that. It's teaching them that eating good quality foods is going to help them be a better athlete. It's going to give them more energy, going to help them be able to compete and perform longer, better, faster, stronger. And sleeping is the same thing, going to help benefit them on the court, on the field. It's about letting them be kids more, letting them learn how to move like humans instead of robots, like these training places, a lot of these coaches do have them. And it's letting them get involved in some sort of training outside of their sport that is going to help them become a better athlete, whether that's someone like me. I'm not strength and conditioning. I like to say performance, just because I do so much more than just strength and conditioning, because strength and conditioning only gets you so far. You need speed, you need power, you need to be able to move and have some mobility and be athletic. And that's what we do here. We allow kids to be athletic. Yes, we'll get them strong. That's easy to do for kids. That's probably the easiest thing to do, is get kids strong. If they're consistent, if they're willing to work. We teach them that part. But we also work on the mindset, the mental side, the psychological side. Because that's so big too, is kids are so mentally weak. They're told what they can and can't do. They're berated all the time by coaches and stuff like that. And it's not that more positive reinforcement. Yes, challenge them, coach them hard, but it's not, they get so mentally weak and fragile. And I think that's a lot just the way things are these days and how they're taught and grow up. But I think getting them involved in some sort of training is huge. Whether that's a younger athlete, just learning to crawl, jump, sprint, roll, climb, tumble, and play, or middle school, high school athletes starting to get more into strength training, master how their body moves, doing those same things. Because so many of these kids I see, especially like middle school age, come in, they can't sprint, they can't jump, they can't roll, they can't climb, because they're not exposed to it. They're so used to just throwing a baseball or shooting a basketball or tackling or throwing a football or catching a football. But give them some other stimulus and they look like a completely, I don't even know how to say it. They just can't do it because they've never been exposed to it. And again, that's what we do. There's plenty of other great coaches around the country, around the U.S. that do this, that are allowing play, allowing fun. That's a big thing, is fun, but also doing a good job coaching and teaching these kids habits and techniques and ways to do things and how to be successful in athletics, in sports, how to move, but more importantly, how to do these things and do them for life. Because that's ultimately my goal, is for when I especially get younger kids, start them young, get them involved, get them having fun, get them enjoying training, enjoying being athletic in sports and eating well and sleeping well, so they can do these things for the rest of their life. But again, a lot of these kids I see today are not prepared for their sports because they don't do anything, or they're just specialized and only doing one thing, and then they think, I can just take 3 months off, do nothing, and then jump right back in to the next sports season and expect to be great right away, or throw 90 miles an hour, but they don't want to do any of the work outside of it, because you're not just going to wake up. Most people aren't going to wake up unless you're superly genetically blessed. You see these people who can. I haven't seen a ton of them myself, but I know coaches talk about these guys who they can work with. They just come in the gym and they're jumping 40 inches, or they're throwing 90 miles an hour. That's the few and far between. If you're one of those people, hey, then your goal as a coach is to not screw them up. You probably don't need to do much with them. Give them a little exposure to things they haven't done, get them a little stronger, maybe pack on some muscle. But yeah, you don't want to just, your goal as a coach is to not screw them up. That's a whole nother story, is you don't want to screw up the athlete. So many coaches, that's why a lot of these kids aren't prepared, because they're screwed up from bad coaches, from stupid programming, from stupid robotic drills that have them moving like this, and everyone has to move like that, and you have to go on this count, and you're not actually able to react and stuff like that, because sports are reactive. But again, help your kids be prepared for their sport by allowing them to play, by allowing them to be kids, by getting them training outside of the sport they're playing, whether they play one sport, whether they're multiple sports. Get them involved in a training program that helps get them stronger, helps get them faster, helps get them more athletic, teaches them and lets them learn, and more importantly, lets them grow and lets them fail, and learn from their failures, and just doesn't force feed them all this crap that they don't need. It allows them to learn their body, learn to move like a human, so they can be an athlete. Those are the big things. But yeah, as a parent, it's up to you. As a coach, it's up to you to help these kids, help them grow. And that's what I truly have a passion in, is helping kids grow, knowing that I didn't have a lot of this, or know about this, because we weren't exposed to it when I was young. Yeah, I played a ton of sports, so I think that helped me and had a lot more play. But I wish I had the training, so I got stronger earlier, so I got faster earlier, and learned to tumble and roll and climb and all this stuff when I was younger. So that's my goal as a coach, as a teacher, eventually, hopefully, as a parent, as an uncle. And if you're a parent, I think that should be your goal, is to make sure your kids are prepared for their sports and not just throwing them in cold and expecting them to perform if they don't do anything all day, or for weeks and months at a time, and then they just jump in without ever playing or doing anything active or physical, or again, because it's not just the physical, it's the mental, it's the psychological, it's the emotional. There's so much that goes on these days, and you got to take all that into account, and it can be tough. And that's where working with a good coach, getting your kids working with a good coach that actually cares about them and pushes them and wants them to succeed and helps them and guides them to succeed. That is the big thing, I think, is huge these days. And there's plenty of good coaches out there. I am one of them. If you are in the River Falls area, have your kids join the After School Athletes for Life, or in the summer, our summer program as well, or online as well if they are in season and times don't match up. So we got plenty of different options available. If you are interested in that, send me a DM, send me an email, whatever's easiest for you, trevor@tagpn.com, or just comment below this, and I'll get in touch with you. Other than that, that's what I got for you today, guys. So parents, coaches, teachers, uncles, aunts, grandpas, grandmas, help the kids be more prepared for their sports. I think that is a goal. If your kid wants to be an athlete or involved in sports, that is part of your job. So we'll talk to you again soon. Have a great day, guys. Thanks.